Well, hello, everybody, and welcome here to Weather Talk Weekend, where we are here and joined by Braden CO, and we're diving into an extended look at the fall forecast. It's been a beautiful forecast these past couple of weeks, which is kind of insane to think of, is that we haven't really seen any rain.
Yeah, we certainly have not seen rain, and we've also been seeing, as you well know, a lot of really warm temperatures out there. So that's
Yeah.
really been the thing that has really caught a lot of people by surprise. Is just how warm it's been here, even now getting into the month of October.
Right. And I feel like here in the South and like across Louisiana, Arkansas, the temperatures in the fall, as we call it, are not really fall temperatures. We're
Yeah,
looking at 90s, Braden.
yeah, we are looking at and likely those continuing. So the real kicker here is that we just don't really have any relief on the horizon, and it does look like those temperatures are going to be sticking around. But yeah, we have been above normal here by um, up to about 5 degrees. So things are not overly above normal, but certainly still above average as far as we're concerned, temperature wise. And that's not just during the afternoons either. It's also during the mornings. You know, you're used to
Yeah.
waking up feeling a little cooler out
Mm-hmm.
there. And we just haven't been seeing that here recently.
Right. I haven't had the urge to go grab my sweatshirt or
Yeah.
my jacket. I'm wearing a dress today. Like
Mhm.
and it's October. So I feel like trick-or-treaters will probably be in a good stance maybe for going out because like you said, we're just not on a track of some rain in the forecast. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you jump into what you
Yeah.
have for the forecast for the next few days.
Yeah, absolutely. So here is a look at that 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This comes from the Climate Prediction Center, and this just gives us an idea of what those temperatures are going to be like here as we head deeper into the month of October. So, through the middle of the month, you can see that bullseye of above normal temperatures really focused in on the Lone Star State. So, we're not going to be talking about those cold fronts coming through that are going to give us those cooler temperatures and rain chances. Instead, we're going to be talking about high pressure that's going to be in charge of our weather. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to heat up each and every day. And we're going to have those temperatures about 5 degrees above normal each afternoon. So, not overly above normal, but certainly still causing us to be warmer than what we would normally expect this time of the year. And also, we've got lower humidity out there. So, it could be worse. It could always be worse. And we could be seeing those southerly winds bringing all that humidity here to the region. But we've been seeing instead east to northeast winds, and that's been helping to bring in some drier air, which is why we've seen lower humidity values here as we go through our afternoons. But the problem with that is that the rain chances are low. So you really have like a toss up between the two. You either want cooler temperatures and rain chances, or you want lower humidity, no rain chance. You know, there's just always a catch-22 kind of situation there. Ideally, we would want cooler temperatures with rain chances. That would be ideal. But unfortunately, with these warmer temperatures comes these lower humidity values and thus lower rain chances. And that's exactly what we're seeing here on that 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, as it is showing that we've got that dry weather here in that forecast. And you can see we're in those brown, tan shaded colors. And that does, in unfortunately, mean that we're not really going to see a whole lot of rain here in that forecast. Now, not necessarily no rain at all, but those chances are just going to be very slim as we go through time. We're talking 10, 20% maybe during the afternoons, and that's going to be about it. So we're not going to be talking about these, storm systems coming through that give us a big line of storms that drops, a couple inches of rain on us in a pretty quick amount of time. Just not really seeing that. We're going to instead be talking about very isolated in nature these rain chances, and it just looks like going forward that things aren't really going to change a whole lot, Haley, here across East Texas.
Well, Braden, I do want to ask you because we're not seeing a lot of rain. I think we have a couple burn bans out as of
Yes.
right now. And do you feel like that will continue to kind of spread because East Texas and really Texas in general hasn't seen rain in a while?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, I can show you here what we've seen over the past 30 days in terms of that rainfall. And you can see here that We just really have not seen much at all in terms of meaningful rainfall here. We are really, really dry, especially in deep East Texas. You can see some of those deeper orange colors down there. And what that means is that the ground is just dry. And so, for that reason, all these counties have implemented burn bans. And for now, as of filming time, we only have two burn bans out there. That would be for Houston County and Shelby County. But it would not surprise me to see some more counties get added to this list here as we go through time because, again, we just really haven't seen much rain. And that graphic right there shows, and it's not just deep East Texas, it's across all of the region where we've had below normal rainfall amounts for the past 30 days and even beyond that.
That is crazy to see. And the only thing that pops into my head is that we're entering fall. So
Yes.
leaves are falling, branches may be falling
Mhm.
because these trees are going through their, cycle of life. And that just means more brush on the ground. And it's
Yeah.
going to be easier to strike up those brush fires or field fires. And that's the last thing that we want right now, especially with not a lot of rain in the forecast. So we can only just hope that we go outside to our rain dance and get just a little bit of rain to alleviate what we're seeing here. Because, like you said, it's a high potential that those burn bans become more and more common
Yeah.
across East Texas and deep East Texas. But I know you have a couple more graphics that you
Yeah.
want to run through, so I'll let you go ahead and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, focusing on this percent of normal rainfall here, you can really see where we're focusing in there on deep East Texas with the lowest amounts. So if you recall, the rain that we got, I guess it was probably around a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It was during the middle of the week where places closer to I-20 got, a decent amount of rain, up to an inch. Some areas got a little bit more than that. Well, deep East Texas saw hardly anything. So that's why they've been really, really dry as of late. And thus, we've seen the drought monitor come out, and it does show that we've got some abnormally dry conditions that do include portions of deep East Texas that right over the city of Lufkin there with moderate levels of drought. So we are looking at the drought expanding, and because of how dry it has been and how dry it's likely going to continue to be here as we go through at least the next 8 to 14 days, we certainly could be looking at this area of drought expanding. So don't be surprised if anywhere in East Texas, if you start to see your location pop up underneath some of these colors here on the drought monitor because it's just been dry. It's going to stay dry, and the heat doesn't help either.
Yeah.
You can have dry and cooler temperatures, but we've got dry plus the heat. So the evaporation rate is higher, lots of sunshine out there, and that, of course, is going to lead to maybe the development of some flash drought, which is just the rapid development of drought conditions out there. And that,
Right.
again, is dangerous when it comes to fire problems. So that's why burn bans are going to be likely implemented over and over and over again here in East Texas until we get some decent rainfall.
Braden, I have to go back. You said flash drought.
Yes.
That is a thing.
Yes.
Wow.
So you have flash flooding, you
Yes.
can have flash drought, and it's just the complete opposite.
Wow, I
Yeah.
did not know that. So I want to kind of focus in on this drought monitor that we're looking at, and I know it's abnormal, but
Mhm.
how common is it for these areas? If you know the answer to this, but how
Yeah.
common is it for these areas to be experiencing a drought right now? Because typically people associate the word drought with the summer. So
Yeah.
is this normal in any way?
A lot of times we do end up seeing dry conditions in the fall. Now, sometimes whenever, say, we get, a tropical system that comes through, it'll help keep us from seeing that. But whenever you have these areas of high pressure that are over us for extended periods of time, and a lot of times that does take place in the late part of the summer into the early part of the fall. It's just that stagnant period, September typically, where we're kind of in that in between where we're not seeing those storm systems yet. And if we don't get anything from the tropics, then we don't see a whole lot of rain. So it's not typical to see drought, so to speak, but it's typical to see not a lot of rainfall, if
Got
that
you.
makes sense.
Yeah,
So
1000%.
going later into the fall, we typically start to see more of those storm systems move across the country, and that drags cold fronts, giving us cooler temperatures, and a lot of times some of those storm chances. So once we get towards the end of October, November, December, that's when things should start to look a little bit
Fingers
different
crossed.
out there.
We can only cross our fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, really, honestly, I feel like we've had such a odd year of weather,
Yes.
especially in the Gulf, with there being
Nothing.
nothing's happening in the Gulf. So, like, we can't rule anything out now. I know that a lot of people think and have this perception in their mind that if we see like a long and a hard summer, kind of like what we're seeing here going into fall, that it's likely that we'll see a hard winter. Is that true, or is that just, a saying?
That's just your common, just your
common old
what's it
tale.
called?
Is
Your
it
lore, the
lore?
lore. That's just all those wise tales there
Yeah.
that people like to tell. So there's no real correlation between it, but there is always the potential, that we could see some extreme cold or
Yeah.
something like that. It just really is up to what happens once we get there. And there's really no way of knowing exactly what's going to happen. There's things that can point to signs such as sea surface temperatures, high pressure setting up off the coast of Alaska, that stuff like that. But it gets very, very technical, and there's no real way of knowing what's going to happen until you're within a certain range of time that the computer models can really grasp a hold of what's going on and then give us a fairly accurate description of what's going to happen in the coming days.
But Braden, we're not talking about spoons, and that
The persimmons
yeah,
and
the
all that. Yeah.
we're not going off of that. That's not what we're thinking.
That's some farmer's almanac stuff there.
Braden, I can't. I've always heard that, and then is it the gopher? Is it
the groundhog.
The gopher. Yes, the groundhog. So I don't know. Maybe y'all got to keep me up to date on whether or not we'll see that. But Braden's our trusted source here. I don't know. Do you have another graphic for us, right? On this?
No, I do not.
Okay. That's fine.
The last one.
No, that's perfect then. So actually, I want us to get into. So we're doing this, and it is currently 10/3 of 2025. So
Yes.
I want to put a date stamp on this, so you all know that you're watching this, and it was recorded on Friday. You're going to be seeing it this weekend. We are forecasting 6 to 10 days or 6 to 14 days in the future. How accurate can those be? Talk a little bit about that, because it's odd to see that.
Yeah, so really that's the range, the range that you're comfortable forecasting in is that extended range right there, about 2 weeks' time. Now, the reason we do 7-day forecast is because that's where we can start to pinpoint, rain chances to give you kind of an exact number there and those temperatures. Now, beyond that, it's a range. So we can say above normal temperatures, below normal rainfall, but it's hard to give you those hard numbers.
Right.
So we can forecast pretty accurately, but in a range, in that extended range. And then once you get closer, 7 days and even closer than that, once you get down to about 3-4 days, that's when you can really start to tell kind of exactly what's going to happen. And then, in the winter, you can start to talk about snowfall amounts. You can talk about rain amounts. You can talk about who's going to see what, that sort of thing. But yeah, you can accurately forecast in an extended range like that, but it's just a range rather than hard numbers.
Okay, that's interesting to know. I'm also interested in the weather space, so this is cool to hear. Now I do want to get a random kind of, I guess you can call it a hot take. What do you think this winter will look like?
Ooh,
I know.
that's always tough to say.
I know.
Just me.
Just you. This is not
Me.
meteorologist Brady.
I think that we will probably have a few cold snaps out there.
Okay.
I think we might end up seeing some below normal temperatures as we head deeper into the winter. So talking January, February, just based on some of the things that I'm seeing.
Okay.
But it's hard to say for sure, and I'm not going to go say this is going to be the coldest winter since the dinosaurs were on the earth. I'm not going to say that.
We're not doing that.
But certainly the potential is there that we could see a few colder snaps, especially later into the winter. But again, it's all up to what happens, really.
It's the way that the weather will set itself up, and it's ever changing, and it's been odd this year. So we'll just have to see where it comes.
Yeah.
I have my fingers crossed. I want to see a Texas winter. Like, I want to see the snow on the ground.
Yeah.
I reshared something the other day that said, not to be dramatic, but the wind blew, so Merry Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you, because I feel like we're getting into the vibes, and maybe we can get some snow on the ground.
Yeah.
But you all will always have to stay up to date on our app, the East Texas Storm Team app, as well as just by watching us here on KTK Plus, as well as on air and online at ktk.com, because Braden is always pushing out weather alerts and making sure that you all are informed on what's happening here in East Texas and deep East Texas. And honestly, y'all, Braden is so knowledgeable. He'll talk about the entire state. So like he has you all covered. If you need a meteorologist, Braden is perfect for it, and he's somebody that you all should follow on social media for all of your weather needs. But Braden, is there anything else that you feel like people should know, maybe heading into this weekend, since this will be airing for Saturday and Sunday?
Just get out and enjoy it, because temperatures are going to be warm. We're going to have lots of sunshine, low humidity. So overall, if you have any outdoor plans, it's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, we don't see a low humidity a lot here in the South, so take advantage of it, you all. But that's going to wrap up this episode of our Weekend Weather Talk. You make sure to tune in every single weekend, because we'll be sitting down with Braden to discuss some trending topics. You all, if you're watching this, send an email to the newsroom and let us know what you want to hear Braden talk about as far as a weather topic, because we need to know what you all are interested in. So send us in an email to see what kind of weekend weather talks you'll like to see, and then maybe we can work something out and I can do my happy dance with Braden and get him to do it. But y'all make sure that you're continuing to tune in here to KTK Plus. We have a lot of original content here online as well as on air that you all will be able to view. So just, thank you all so much for tuning in. That's going to wrap up our show, and we will see you all next weekend.